Namaste. Welcome to class. Nice to have you this beautiful sunny morning here in Guatemala. I can feel the taste of spring in the air and winter just going by. Hopefully that's the case. So let's just practice a little gratefulness this morning, just being grateful. If you have rain and you haven't had it, be grateful for that. If you have sun and you haven't had it, be grateful for that. If you have cold and snow, whatever you've got, just taking a moment, practicing a little gratefulness. We're going to start with one ring of the bell, just letting your eyes close softly or take a gaze at the floor. Without changing it, beginning to notice your breath. Letting it soften, soften, soften. Smooth it out a little bit more. Letting your breath deepen a little bit. Keeping your eyes either closed or a soft focus at the floor for just a moment. Notice where you're making contact with the floor and let the spine lift up out of that solid base. And then forming an intention for your practice today, a sankalpa, a sacred vow, something that you want, need, something someone else wants or needs. Usually the first thing that popped into your mind, your sankalpa, and then state it as if you already had it. I am happy. I am patient. I am loving. And then letting that thought slip down into your heart space, you'll bring it back at the end. And thinking of someone or something to which to dedicate your practice this morning. A dedication, usually again, the first thing that pops into your mind, who needs that extra energy, that extra oomph. And then letting that thought drop down into your heart space. And then if you are where you can, join me for one Om. Letting your eyes begin to flutter open. Good, and then just making some circles. For those of you who practice with me a lot, you know, this is my favorite way to start because it's rotating my torso around the heads of the femurs so that it's preparing and starting to lubricate the hip sockets. Both directions. And again. Notice how you're creating a little diamond with your pelvic floor, sit bone, pubic bone, sit bone, tailbone. And then the other direction one more time. Just lubricating the joint on either side of the hip socket. Good. And then coming up nice and tall, let's wake up our QL this morning, our Quadratus Lumborum, that the little squarish muscle that connects our lower ribs to our pelvic basket. So just reaching up for a moment, get nice and stable. Take your arms. You can have them up. It doesn't really matter now. They can be up out close to your ears. Good. And then hold on to your right wrist and just come a little bit over to the left. Try not to lean forward, just lean to the side as if you were squeezed between two pieces of glass. And then come up. And then let's go to the other side. And then come up. And now let's extend our legs out. Upavista Konasana, just nice extended legs for a moment. Flex the feet up toward the ceiling. Just wiggle your legs for a bit. Make sure the knees are nice and soft. Just wiggling your legs. Waking up your hamstrings with a little good morning, good morning. Good. And then flex the feet, press through them. Great. We're going to do that same QL stretch, but with our legs out in front. Okay. So again, up overhead, lift up, all the way as far as tall as you can get. Hold onto the wrist and come in over to the side. Again, your body is squeezed between two planes. You're not going out over your leg. And back up, and then to the other side. And back up. Good. Both arms floating down. Let's take the soles of the feet together and just check on our Vajrasan. Like, what is our comfortable state right here, right now? We'll check on it again later. Okay. So just seeing how your legs feel. If you have blocks for a moment, you're welcome to put them there and just let your adductors relax for a moment. Let them just chill out. Nice tall spine. Notice your breath. Press into the toes and into the ball of the foot and the heel. So really form a nice arch between your feet. Maybe the only time some of us see those arches. But yes, you can get your arches back, promise. And then peel the toes away and press into the ball of the foot and the heel. Just peel the toes away. Good. And then hopefully if you had a block, just move it out of the way and bring. Good. We're going to check on our TFL, our Tensor Facia Lata, abductor that's in the side, on the side of your legs. Okay. How we're going to check on it? Early boat pose. Maybe your nemesis, it may be your favorite pose in the whole world. But I'm going to make a nice V with my spine and my femur bone. So just finding that V, okay? Put your hands behind your knees to start. Roll your shoulders back and down. So your V is getting a little bit more pronounced. Good. And then we're going to draw the shins parallel to the floor. Just parallel to the floor for a moment. Good. You can point your toes. You can flex your feet for a moment. Point, flex. And then if you let go just a moment, you'll notice those TFLs come online. Just notice if it's comfortable or not. You're welcome to straighten your legs, but there's no need. You can get them online with the bent leg. Good. And then put your feet on the floor. Great. So remember that experience, okay? We're going to work a little bit on this to start this morning. Great. So if you have your pillow, well, you might use it for your head. We're going to lie down on our side. This is my reclined Shiva pose. In Rishikesh, there's a beautiful Shiva statue. It's just like this with Parvati, his lovely wife. Oh, you know what? When I lay down, sometimes the microphone doesn't like it. So I'm just going to put this right here. Okay. So let's lay down and stretch out through both legs first. Flex the feet and stretch out through both legs a lot. Okay. Both legs are stretched out. And you can hold your head, or you can put your head on a block, or you can put your head on your pillow, wherever it's comfortable. Now, my feet are not touching. They're just straight, but they're not touching because if they touched, that might overstretch that top TFL for a moment. Bend the bottom knee so that you create a triangle down there, giving you a little bit more space. And you're still holding the right one in space, okay? And then we're going to lift and lower. Lift, not too high and with no rotation. So your toes are facing the front and they're going to stay facing the front. The minute you have this great desire to rotate the leg, stop yourself. Keep it completely just abducting, not rotating. Pulling away from the midline. Keep going. And this time when you go up, stay at the tall one for a moment. Now rotate the leg and then draw the leg up just as much as it's comfortable. Wherever it comes to is perfect. It's rotated, right? And then draw it back down where you think you had it and then unrotate it. Good. And then bend the knee and now you can rest it on the bottom knee. just rest it for a moment. Let it return to its normal position. Good. And then we're going to go to the other side. I'm going to flip. I would normally just turn over, but I guess I can't do that. Good. So the same thing, right where you are, support your head. Go ahead and stretch out through both feet. Stretch out through both feet. Flex the foot. Keep the top foot up. Don't let the leg reach out. Just keep it strong. Good. Make sure your hands are comfortable wherever they are. And then bend the bottom leg to make a nice triangle so that you've got a lot of support down there. Continue to flex the left foot and then up and lower. Don't go past the neutral spot. Lower. As if you were lying in a Tadasana pose. Lift and lower. The TFL, the Tensor Facia Lata, is tucked up underneath your IT band, right on the top of the greater trochanter, which is the head of your femur, the top, well, it's not the head of the femur, the top of the femur, let's say. Keep going. And so we're trying to strengthen that muscle. There is no lengthening of your IT band. It's fascia and it doesn't lengthen, it just tears. Okay, so what we're trying to do is strengthen the muscle that's underneath it. And this next time we're going to stay up as far as you can, but no rotation yet. And now rotate the leg and draw it up as far as is comfortable with rotation. Keep flexing the foot, just keep it there. Push through the heel, really active left leg. And then slowly begin to lower it until you think you are where you can unrotate completely. And then rest the knee on the bottom knee. Just soften for a moment. Good. And then let's come up. Great. And we're going to go back and visit for just a moment bow pose. We're just going to visit it for a moment. Just to have you see if you have the engagement of that muscle, of those on both sides, okay? Well, good. And then just play with strengthening, straightening, one at a time. And feel if after you activated that muscle, if this feels a little bit more comfortable. And then release it again and see if that feels any more comfortable or not. And then let's come on over into our cat pose. Okay, so as you're ready, finding your table pose, wrist right underneath your shoulders. Hands are in front of the shoulders completely. Knees are right underneath the hip joint. Good. So let's take our forcefulness on our exhale where we need the strength. So exhale, curl the spine toward the ceiling. Inhale, back into neutral. Exhale, curl the spine toward the floor. And inhale, back into neutral. So just moving through this cat pose. Couple more. Finding your maximum expression of flexion on the front and extension on the back. And come into neutral. Good. So again, we're going to take the leg out to the side as if we're lifting for a fire hydrant like a dog. So just our little fire hydrant pose. Lift the left leg. Just lifting. Keep the knee bent. The heel is close to the bottom. Gazing at the floor just so you're not straining your neck. You're just holding this for a moment. Keep your belly in and then release. And now we're going to lift the right leg. Just lifting, press into the floor with your hands. So really keep your body active. Keep the space between your shoulder blades puffed up. Look at the floor so that you're not straining your neck. You can flex the right foot, just keeping the heel close to the bottom. Don't forget to breathe. And then lower the leg. Good. And then from here, take a cat. Curl the cat, and you're going to take 3 breaths right here with this curl. Press the floor away, breathe. Pelvic floor is lifted, breathing into the back body. And on your next inhale, come into neutral. Good. And now you're going to lift again the left leg. Lifting the left leg. And see if you can straighten the left leg. Bend the left leg and straighten the left leg. Bend and straighten. One more time. Bend and straighten. You can always put the foot down on the floor, and from there, bend and straighten, okay? Good, all right. Lifting the right leg. And remember, you can always straighten, put it on the floor, and go from there. Otherwise, up in the air. Bend and straighten. Bend and straighten. Bend and straighten. And bend and straighten. Good. Bend and release. One more cat arch toward the ceiling. Pull in the belly. Arch the spine. 3 breaths. And then coming back into neutral. Be there for a few breaths. Make sure you have a little bit of your low back curve. Press into the floor with the hands. Broaden the space between the shoulder blades. And then curl the tailbone toward the back of the head toward the tailbone. And stay here for 3 breaths. Look at the ceiling if you can. Just the eyes, the face can stay forward. Good. And then come into neutral. Excellent. And then just coming up into kneeling. Great. So nice and tall. Bring the arms up overhead. And again from here, hold on to the right wrist and lean over to the left side. Just leaning. Don't poke out any hip. This is just happening in the thoracic spine where you have ribs. Coming back up, belly to spine, switch wrist, and lean over to the right side. So hips are staying stable. Belly button is stable. It's coming all from the rib cage. And back into neutral and release your arms. So taking the left leg out to the side. Good. If you have a block here, you might want to grab it. We're just going to come over and just barely lift the leg. So I have a nice diagonal line here. I can take my hand to the floor, but if I take my hand to the floor, I'm going to have a straight line. So it's going to be a little bit more challenging, okay? Because I need a Tadasana spine. So this gives me a little less intensity, okay? The foot is flexed as if I'm walking on the air with my left leg. Great. And just notice your TFL. Just put your hand firmly at the top of the femur and just like 1 centimeter. Lift. Lift and lower. Just 1 centimeter. And then put it on the floor. Come back up. And now let's externally rotate that leg. Good. So just noticing how the muscles feel on the femur, on the leg. Good. And then just placing your hand, and this time you do have an arch. So you have an arch, just placing your arm, your forearm, your elbow back on your thigh and reaching over. And this is a QL stretch from here. Good. So you are arching. And on your next exhale, push up. Good. And just release that leg. Bring my block to the left side. Good. And then I'm just going to extend out to the side, abducting my right leg. Good. And this is where we're placing our action. Lean over and find that line. Your foot can just be barely off the floor if you'd like. But if you're over like that, you have to continue to lift your leg until you get that Tadasana line, because otherwise you're just going to hang into that TFL. Foot is super flexed, you're very active. And a centimeter, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower. Put the foot on the floor, press up, and externally rotate the leg. Just notice the rotation at the hip socket. Good. And then again, arms up overhead. Just reach up and out and then lean over. Just put your elbow somewhere along your thigh and open that Quadratus Lumborum. Exhale, back up. Good. And release the leg. And then let's take our hips down to our heels for a moment. Hips to the heels. Great. Take the hands back behind you, interlace the fingers, just a slight back bend in your thoracic spine. Squeezing your knuckles down toward the floor, gazing forward. Good. And then keep squeezing your knuckles toward the floor and lift your hips. So just seeing the similarities to coming into a camel. We're not coming into a full camel. Good. Release the arms. Relax your thoracic. Take the hips back down. So I have lots more space. And then take the around again. Interlace the uncomfortable way. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down. So really opening your thoracic spine. Showing your sternum toward the ceiling. Breathe. And then on your next exhale, do not thrust your hips forward. Just straighten your, just come up. Straighten the hip socket, but do not thrust the hips forward. This back bend is adding on to your already beautiful lumbar curve. It is not pressing your hips forward. And then let's release the arms. Good. And then come up onto the ball of the foot. Just onto the ball of the foot for a moment. A little bit of a toe balance. It's really a ball of the foot balance, but just finding that. Good. And then let's come all the way up. Good. Finding Tadasana. So finding your stable pose, your stability pose. Lift your toes and then balance the weight evenly, front, back, side, side, wherever you'd like to get the weight balanced. Good. And then root down through your right side. Root down through your right side and lift your left leg and go out. Good. And then bend your left knee and come back up. Okay, so all we're doing is abducting, little weight, shift the weight side to side, bend the knee just a little bit and come back up. So just bending the knee to keep it honest, so you're not torquing your knee, okay? Abduct, place, just bend the knee a little and press back up. Good, other side. Abduct, place, Bend the right knee a little and come back. Abduct, place. Just bend the knee a little bit so you're not torquing. And back. One more time. Abduct, place. Bend the knee a little and press back to Tadasana. Good. And now using both legs, moving apart into Upavista Konasana. Wide-legged angle pose. Good. Put your hands right at the top of your pelvic, at the bottom of your pelvic basket, at the top of your thighs, where the joint is when you begin to bend over. You can put your index fingers in there, and when you come over, you're almost going to hide them. And then come up. Inhale while you're standing. Exhale, hinge at the hips, come over. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, up. And when we say flat back, we want you to have all of your regular curves, but as if you were trying to put yourself on a wall. Coming over on an exhale. You still have your lumbar and cervical curves. And up. Inhale. Exhale over. Inhale while you're there. And exhale up. Good. Let's just externally rotate for a moment. Kick out that back right heel and engage the thigh. Reaching back into Joan of Arc. Again, opening up the Quadratus Lumborum. Come back into neutral and just leaning and finding our diagonal line. Nothing else. Coming back all the way up and release. Unrotate, bend the knee a little, unrotate. Kick out the left heel, externally rotate to the right. Notice how this muscle is feeling today. Good. Lift the quadriceps. Leaning over to the left side, opening the QL. And then coming back through neutral until we find a diagonal line. Good. And then just coming up, arms. Release the arms, bend the knee slightly, unrotate, and then let's adduct, add the legs together. Good, finding your Tadasana. We're gonna go down through a nice big squat. I'm gonna go to the back. So you can see my knees and my feet are in the same direction. And when I get there, I'm just gonna be there for a moment. I'm gonna take my chin into the chest, just curling forward. Thinking of the downward flow of energy, relaxing your back. Good, and then placing your hands back behind you. Take your bottom to the floor. Good. And then extend your legs out into Dandasana. Just extending out into Dandasana for a moment. Great. So you can hold on to your shin, whatever you need to hold on to bring your left leg in, flex it, and put the sole of the foot along the right thigh. Good. And your belly button is facing toward the front. Good. So as we begin to curl the spine over, creating this loop of energy between Shira, which is the tucking. Peel the chin off the chest, look forward. Bring your spine to nice and tall and long. Really flex the right foot. And then creep yourself out a little bit more one more time. Just creeping the fingers and hands, tucking the chin in. Janu Shirshasana. And we're not going to let our low back do the work here. We're going to bring our hands close to the top of the right thigh. Look out past your right foot and then press the floor away using your arms straightening to come up. Good, nice and tall. And then extend out the left foot, draw in the right sole of the foot against the inner thigh of the left leg. So yes, this has this rounding curve. We always do it out like that. That's part of it, but it's not the whole pose. The whole pose is creating the connection between the knee and the head. And the only way to do that is to curl. Beginning, you're drifting, you're tucking your chin into your chest, just bringing it into wherever it comes. Flex the left foot, keep that left foot flexed. Tuck the chin into your chest, just surrendering a little bit. Keep the foot flexed, watch your breath, keep breathing, not holding. And on your next inhale, looking out past your left foot. Good. Just slowly creeping your fingers, coming out a little bit more, and then curl. Breathing. And then walk your hands back by the tops of by the middle of the thigh, top of the thigh, wherever they are. Press into the hands as you unpeel your chin off your chest, looking out past the left foot and coming up slowly by straightening the arms. Good. And then reaching through both into Dandasana. Both legs are active for a moment. Upper body is active, sitting up on the top a little bit. You can make sure you're up on top of your sit bones just by lifting and sitting. Heels are definitely on the floor. If your heels are off the floor, you're hyperextending in your knees, so be careful. We're going to go to the floor in a moment, but stay where you are before you go to the floor so that you can see what I'm going to do. And then once you're there, you don't have to crane your neck or look anywhere different, okay? So while I'm laying down, I'm going to work a little bit on that same muscle. And when we come up, eventually, we're going to, our very last thing after all of our poses is going to be one more boat pose to see what's happening in that area. But that's going to be at the very, very end. So don't worry about it now. But as you're lying there, you're going to lift the leg, reach it up, open it out to the side just a little. Hold it there. So you're holding for a moment. And then slowly bringing it back. You're just going to do that 3 times. You're going to lengthen out, but you've got to do it with integrity and bring it back. So just 3 times, okay? That's all we're going to do before we take, if you're inverting today, you can take Viparit or a bridge pose or headstand, whatever you'd like. But first, lying down. Bend your knees, put your feet flat on the floor. Get a tiny bit of your lumbar curve to start, just a tiny bit of your lumbar curve. And then when you begin to lift your left leg, you'll find your lumbar curve flattens into the floor. That's perfectly fine. That's what's going to happen. Good. And then straighten the left leg. And just a little bit. Keep the control out to the side and back up. If you can use no hands, great. Just 3 times. And then bend the knee, place it on the floor, straighten the right leg, flex the foot greatly, and then take the leg out to the right. Bring it back 3 times. Good, and then put the foot on the floor. So if you're, this is a great place to be to start your bridge pose, but if you're not inverting, so who's not inverting? Glaucoma? No. High or low uncontrolled blood pressure? No. On the first 2 or 3 days of your menstrual cycle, anytime there is a heaviest flow, absolutely no inverting, okay? So if you're not inverting, give yourself a little extra shavasana. Be kind to yourself. Just stretch out, think starfish, and relax. If you are inverting, you're welcome to try bridge pose, which most of you know. If you don't know bridge pose, let's do it another day. For now, if you have a block handy, put it right underneath your hips and support yourself in bridge, just being supported. You can also lift your legs up to the ceiling for Viparit Karni Mudra, or if handstand, headstand, or another practice is there for you, feel free to try it. I'm minding the time. You can still be in the pose for a little bit longer. An inversion needs at least a minute, and sometimes 5 is good. So it depends on your level of practice, your level of experience. And then slowly, you're welcome to start coming out of your inversion. You're also welcome to stay for another moment. You decide. It's your practice, tailoring it to fit your needs. If you're coming out, you might need a counter pose. But just remember to rest. An inversion rejuvenates the entire body, brings blood into the head, but it can also be make people lightheaded if they're not accustomed to doing it. So just being very judicious in your actions. And then slowly and gently making your way into Shavasana. So into that little taste of death at the end of the practice. Although we are going to come up today after your Shavasana and do one additional pose to check on our body-mind complex. But this Shavasana is an integral part of it. So don't be trapped by your mat. Let your legs spread out and relax. Let your arms spread away from your midline and relax just below the heart, always hands below the heart. And once you're there in corpse pose, check your jaw. It's said that the jaw is the seat of the will. Just let it go for a moment or two. No one cares if you just drop your jaw open. Sending the pranic energy anywhere you have any tightness in the body. Send a little love into the sides of those thighs. Slowly and gently bringing your awareness into the breath. Just noticing the rise and the fall of your belly or your chest. Allowing the breath to expand into the extremities, into the tips of the fingers, the tops of the toes. Feeling your whole body expand as if you could float for a moment right off your mat. Bringing the senses online, letting the eyes roll in the sockets, the tongue move in the mouth, wriggling your nose, wiggling your ears, beginning to swim the fingers and twinkle the toes. And then you decide how you want to make your way over to one side in embryo pose, all curled up, that spinal C curve, all safe and secure. You can stretch out, you can shrink in, just making your way over to embryo, tuck in, just really tuck in, like a nice little ball. Leaving behind anything that no longer serves us in corpse pose intentionally. And then visualizing this new beginning every time. And then as you push the floor away, feel yourself burst forth with a new you. Letting your head be the very last thing that comes up as it stacks on top of your spine. And just being still for a few more moments, letting the asana, the postures, do their work. And then very gently beginning to flutter the eyes open on an inhale. We're going to check on two things from our practice. So one is bringing yourself back into that V shape and just checking on your legs, the sides of the legs. Big toes are not touching. They're just right out from one another. So notice the strength or the way that that feels, that muscles that are engaging. And you're welcome to straighten the legs, keep the hands there, not keep the hands there, just noticing what you worked on today. And then bring the soles of the feet together. Notice if there's any difference in your Vajrasana, if it feels any different at the end. And then finding Sukhasana, your easy seat. We're going to go from a simple pranayama right into a short meditation. So if you'd like an extra blanket or a shawl, grab it now so you don't have to move afterwards. A nice tall spine. If your legs are hanging in space, do yourself a favor and prop it up on something. I have mine on my right foot. So whatever will prop it, but don't let it just hang in space. If both are in space, plop something under so you can relax your adductors, or you're going to have a constant war between both sides of your legs. Okay, so let your adductors relax and your legs will eventually open. Good. So our pranayama today is going to be using a restricted breath for the inhale. So how we're going to do that is just like you're going to go swimming and dive into the pool and hold your nose. You're going to press just a little bit below the cartilage and restrict just a small amount your air coming in through the nose. Release and exhale out the mouth. You can make a sound like I just did or no sound at all. You can decide, okay? But there probably will be a sound for the inhale because you're restricting. Not so much that it's going to kill you to get your breath in, but just learning how to work with a resistance in your nasal passages, okay? So we're going to start by exhaling the breath out. A little pressure to the nose. Inhale, count of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pause. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Fall into your natural breath pattern. belly or chest, whatever supports you with no control, zero control. As long as you're not feeling lightheaded and you're feeling okay, we're going to do one more round. If you're feeling lightheaded, just sit with it. Don't press into your nose. Just breathe naturally with no pressure on the resistance. If you're ready to do another round with me, okay? Exhale the breath all the way out naturally. Pressure. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Falling right back into your natural breath pattern. No control. Noticing body, breath, mind. This soft, uncontrolled breath is our meditative breath. This is the breath that we're going to allow to be with us through meditation. No control. But I do want you to name it. I want you to notice your inhale and notice your exhale and describe it to yourself without changing it. I'm inhaling. Oh, I'm exhaling. I'm inhaling. I'm exhaling. That is the mantra. I'm inhaling. I am exhaling. I'm inhaling. I am exhaling. We'll be here for about 5 minutes. I'll end the practice with 3 rings of the bowl. And occasionally throughout, I'll bring you back to the mantra. I'm inhaling. I'm exhaling. I'm inhaling. I'm exhaling. Gently releasing the mantra, any mudra you may have taken with your hands. Letting your breath deepen a little. Letting your eyes gently flutter open, accustoming to the room. Bringing your hands into the heart, Anjali Mudra. Any merit we may have earned this morning, we lift it up to the welfare of all sentient beings. Remember your intention and your offering. Remember them, repeat them to yourself silently. And then let them slip down from your mind space into your heart space. And then symbolically from the heart space right into the palms of your hands, and lift those up and just let them go off into the universe. Gently bringing your hands back into the heart. Hari Om Tat Sat. Namaste. So I'm going to come to you. I'll be there and we can have a short discussion and we can talk about the practice for just a moment. Any questions you might have about anything we did or didn't do? I'm on my way. Great. Now let me fix it where I can see you, where you can talk, where everything is hunky-dory. Hold on. Let me remove this silly spotlight, get my gallery view, Make sure you can all talk. Yes, you can. You can unmute yourself as you would like. Hi, everyone. Good morning. So nice to see you. Welcome. Welcome all of you regulars and anybody new. Varnita, that's a new name. Hi, Sky. Manipa, nice to see you. Gabi, Amy, Cam, Donna, my dear. Hi, Amber, Richard. So nice to have you. Yeah, Nayana, Ashok, Jolanta, welcome back. Hi, Surya Prakash, Marie, Barbara, nice to have you. Nice to yeah, my two Jeans. Patty, Brianna, thank you for the text this morning. I'm so glad you made it. Good. So, how's you're welcome, Gabi. You're so welcome. How's your TFL? Could you guys feel that was really working in that area? Good.
Yes. What a big difference. Even after first exercise, that was amazing. I couldn't believe it.
Good. Good.
Thank you. Thank you. That was really wonderful.
It's one of those muscles we often kind of ignore, yet when we're in a
Mm-hmm.
practice, it's one of the ones that most often stops us, right? It's the one that makes us really uncomfortable. Um,
Mm-hmm.
So it's excellent. I mean, super excellent to just stop for a
Mm-hmm.
moment and think, can I do anything like those reclined Shiva poses? That was me working with a PT back in the day when I had a hip injury to make my PT actions into yoga poses because I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't willing to do PT, but I was willing to do an asana practice. So
Mm-hmm.
it was all mental, right? Like I couldn't get my head wrapped around PT, but I could get my head wrapped around making my asana practice have all the PT moves in it. So
Mm.
yeah, yeah.
Kamalish, I want to ask you. I was really sore after Thursday, especially my left hip. Is it anything kind of like almost like I felt like I'm getting sciatica? Like
Mm.
it was that nagging pain, and kind of at night I couldn't sleep. Is there anything we can do in between, like anything restorative for hips? I know
Yeah.
we are targeting different areas, like since I mean, like Thursday and today, but it's kind of that area. So, is it anything can be
Yes,
done?
there's several things that you can do. And Sky, yes, these are all recorded. First, let me tell you guys before I forget, because I promised someone I would tell. So I have a YouTube channel where all
Mhm.
of these classes I have ever taught since last March are, and it's just called YouTube/Ginger Hooven. So for those of you who know me as Kamlesh, it's my other name, my mama's name, right, for me.
Mm.
So it's just Ginger Hooven, okay, all together. So youtube.com/Ginger Hooven. And there are all of the videos. For those of you who also want to donate money, occasionally people do. I'm not asking anybody to donate. But on those pages, like in the information that's there, it's got the account number and my PayPal email. So I'm not asking you to donate, but people ask me where it is. And it's like every time I have to look for it, I don't know where it is. So it's there if you feel like taken a class and want to give some money, it's great, whatever you want to do. So yes, guys, so you're welcome to look in and check out a lot of classes. There's a bunch of them there. And please don't anybody think that you can't come just to come and be here, because I think all of us pay it forward. So no matter what, whether it's monetary or just emotional or sending me love, I can feel that when it comes in. I tell you, which is why I keep teaching these classes. I feel the love and appreciation, and the money is just an extra boon, right? So it's just great hanging out with you guys. So then Jolanta, back to sciatica. So yes, the sciatica is usually the squeezing of the sciatic nerve, which is
Mm-hmm.
really big. It's just for you to know, it's about the size of your thumb.
Mm-hmm. I thought actually it's bigger even.
Yeah, I mean it's a big nerve, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it has this track that you have to watch, and you have to all be smooth in that track. So one of the worst
Mm-hmm.
things we can do is over exercise it when it's inflamed. That's one of the worst things that we can do. And so if it's starting to, like what I call sing to me, which is those little tingling down the back of
Yes.
my leg,
Yes.
right? Then
Mhm.
I just stop, put on oil. I use Mahanarayana, which is a really good oil that works not only on the muscle tissue, but on nerve fibers. And I put a Mahanarayana oil. Sometimes I'll mix it with castor oil and then put a little heat on it. Heat to me feels good. For some people, cool
Me,
feels
yes,
good,
the
but
same.
heat
Mm.
really helps. So I'll put like a hot water bottle
Mhm,
right on top
mhm,
of a little bit of the oil and just
mhm.
lay in Sphinx pose. So you're laying
Okay.
on your belly with the hot water bottle
Mhm,
on your bottom,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
Not on your
mhm,
leg necessarily, because it's
mhm,
radiating the pain down into your leg because that's where the sciatica
mhm,
goes, but it's
mhm,
happening up in the piriformis. So you
mhm.
want to keep your bottom warm and oiled
Got it.
and not overdo it when it's inflamed, right? Like the
Mhm.
worst thing that you can do for it, and I know because I did it, is use a foam roller while it's inflamed.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. Uh-huh. Okay. No, no foam roller. Okay.
No, not
Okay.
unless you want to suffer for a few months afterwards. God is my witness. I was a total idiot and just
Mhm,
overdid. That's this pitta quality. We love to overdo.
mhm.
Speaking of, yeah. Ginger, what is the name of the oil that you use? Mahanarayana?
Mahanarayana. So it's all one
It's,
word, Mahanarayana.
you think they sell that at Banyan Botanicals, you
They
think?
do, and they make a
Okay.
really good one. Look, Amber's got it. She's putting it up there for you to see.
Oh, awesome.
Mahanarayana, and she's got the banyan mark. I personally buy it from Kodakal because it's got a few more ingredients in it, and the more ingredients it's like got 50 things in it.
And how do you spell Kodakal with a K?
Kotakal, Kottakkal. It's really weird. Kottakkal. That could be a nice little chant.
That's our mantra.
I'm
Okay.
using the Chinese oil, the red flower oil. I don't know. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not, but ours is red too. So if it's got red and
Yeah,
flower,
it has cayenne. It has cayenne pepper. It has
well,
like
this
8 different herbs.
this doesn't
Mhm,
have cayenne, but this has a lot
mhm,
of. The thing about this, I wouldn't use that kind of. I wouldn't use cayenne on it myself,
mhm. Okay.
but I'm not familiar that well with good
Mhm.
Chinese medicine, and that may be the perfect thing for you in particular, Jolanta. So don't let me tell you what
No,
not to
no,
use.
okay, but it's thank
But
you.
for
Mhm,
me, cayenne would mean my eyes would be burning within about 15 minutes.
mhm. I mean, I have to use gloves, and I do it usually at night when I don't. I know that I'm not gonna touch anything, even though I use some. It dissolves gloves, basically.
Hmm.
It's really potent.
Yeah,
So,
but
but
cayenne
if you
isn't for
cannot
me.
sleep,
Right.
that's
I also
uh-huh.
can't even use Tiger Balm, so I'm real sensitive to that
Mhm.
kind of heat.
Okay.
Not good for
Thank you.
me. But Mahanarayana is good for everybody, but it stains your jammies. So if you're going to put it on at night, get some
Yeah,
jammies you don't
the
care
same.
about.
This one also. Hmm.
So the pranayama, how is it for you just doing that little bit of retention? That really helps to strengthen the diaphragm. Was that okay? How did you like that?
A little scary.
Did you feel lightheaded?
Mm,
Good. I'm glad no one was feeling lightheaded because you just have to back off if you're doing it too strongly. But for some people that have sinus issues all the time, people that have deviated septums, that's what
mhm,
it feels like for them to take a breath often.
mhm,
And that's
mhm,
pretty scary in itself, right? If
mhm,
one nostril is already blocked, you just block one. No, Amy, block them both. Just press into both of them equally because it may even unblock the one that is blocked. Press into
mhm,
them both evenly.
mhm.
Yeah.
What does it do? Can you talk a little bit more about this kind of breathing? What does it do?
It's resistance training, basically.
Mhm,
It's like in the time of COVID, I think we need some kind of resistance training for our breath. We're wearing those
mhm.
stupid masks and we're not
Oh
breathing in
yes.
our nose. And a lot of times people are behind. A lot of times people come out of their mask and they have a sore throat. Why? Because they've been mouth breathing all day because they hadn't yet learned to
Mhm,
resistance breathe, right?
mhm,
So I think it's a good practice for now that we have a mask on to do it
mhm,
without the mask. but to restrict it a little bit so you learn to just pull that breath in, and probably a little more quickly than you normally would. Like I'll find myself when I have my mask on going like that before I speak, and then I'm getting rid of all of that air and it goes all the way out, and again I'm because I don't want to breathe through my mouth. I have a sore throat. If I come home and I breathe through my mouth all day, my throat is itchy and dry and scratchy and right? So the resistance breath helps me to remember to breathe through my nose. Yeah. And the meditation.
Ginger, I had a question about one of the postures.
Yes, Brianna.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No.
I had a question about one of the postures. When we're up on our knees and how important is it that our hips are square to the front? Or is it okay if they kind of to the side? Or should they be square?
They should be, when we're doing this and you have a knee on the floor like that, it's better to stay square.
Yeah.
Because right now you're torquing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so it's better to have.
So should I adjust my knee to?
You adjust your front leg, right?
Square.
So right,
okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, perfect.
With your knee right over your ankle. So do the other leg for a second. So put both. Okay, now stay there for just a sec. Okay, but go back down to kneeling. Go back down to kneeling. We have a lag with Brianna and me. So right there in kneeling for just a moment. Okay. And notice where your belly button is. Put your left finger in it. Okay, good. And then raise your right leg out to the front first, out to the front. Just put your right foot on the floor to the front. Okay, and now wiggle it open without moving your belly button from where it is headed to. Okay, so now wiggle it open and don't go any further than you can keep your belly button front and center. That's where you want to be, because that shows you that rotation, right? And you can even take your foot out a tiny bit more.
Yeah, okay.
Because if you go past that, you're not being true to what's happening in the pelvic basket, right? And it's going to cuts the pranic energy. Yeah.
And it doesn't full effect stretch anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Brianna, because I wanted to ask the same thing. Thank you. I wanted to ask the same thing.
Yeah. And
perfect. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Anybody else? Any other questions about anything we did? Did you like I'm inhaling, I'm exhaling with no control? Just that little mantra? Good. Good. It's so helpful for us to remember that we don't really have to control the breath, that we just can go with it and let the universe breathe us and just notice, oh, I'm inhaling. Oh, I'm exhaling. Oh, I didn't really even, I'm inhaling. I'm exhaling. Yeah, I love that. I love the way that it lets us just pace what's happening. Yeah. Okay, everyone. It's so wonderful. Yeah, Sanskrit class. Hold on, Donna. Help me out here. You can unmute and help me with my, we have Sanskrit, right after this though, we have Gita class right now at 9:15 in California. So we have
Sutra class.
Sutra class. Gita's on Thursday. So we have Sutra class, which I'm hoping to go to today. And all of our online offerings, Donna just put the link in the Mount Madonna Institute.org/online offerings. So you're welcome to go there. But today at 9:15 is the Sutra class. At 9:15 on Thursday is the Gita class. But also we have a new Sanskrit series that Bhavani, my dear yoga sister, is offering. So for those of you who've wanted to learn more Sanskrit, have wondered about the pronunciation, have wondered why I drop my A's and other people don't, you're welcome to check out Bhavani's class, right? Because it's wonderful. She's a great teacher. Yeah. Thanks to everybody. Everyone have a wonderful, wonderful day. Enjoy. And I'll see you on Thursday, hopefully 6 a.m. if you're in California, 8 a.m. for those of us here in Guatemala. Okay. Much love. Ciao, ciao.